I just put my son to bed.
Okay. So how old is your son?
19 months.
Oh my God. Just one, right?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. We'll
and
we'll
that's
we'll get into
plenty.
that. I did want to ask you, when was the last time you're in Canada, right?
No, I'm in Sweden.
Sweden. Why did I think Canada? Okay, you're in Sweden. When was the last time you visited the US?
I was in the US in, what was it? Spring 2023. That was the first and only time I've been there.
Where'd you go?
So we started in LA and then we took a car up to Las Vegas and did a lot of like Grand Canyon, Antelope Canyon. What is that called? Death Valley? Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And then we drove up to Eureka, north of San Francisco, and then back to San Francisco. Took a plane to Seattle, and then the train from Seattle to Vancouver, and then back home.
Wow, that is quite the journey.
Yes, we were away about like 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, but
Yeah.
it was nice.
It sounds like it would definitely take that long to
Yeah,
really enjoy the sights. What was your favorite city when you were visiting out here?
I think
I won't
it must
pin you
be
to it.
Seattle,
It's
but
a
I that during the trip it was Vancouver.
no kidding.
Yeah, I loved
What?
Vancouver.
So okay, so you went to LA, which is like tourist city. You went
Yeah,
to Vegas, which is like play city.
yeah.
And then you got to visit San Francisco, which is just vistas. But in all of that, Canada was your favorite. What stands out about Canada amongst the rest?
I think as a European or Swede, the possibility to actually take public transport and not have to drive everywhere uh, was the main part. And then I like the nature with all the mountains and water, and yeah, I like that.
That's yeah, you don't get to see a lot of that in LA or Vegas. When you went to Vegas, did you get to see some shows and
No, we basically just stayed in Vegas to have somewhere to drive from to when
no
we
way.
went to Grand Canyon and Antelope Canyon. Um, so I don't drink, I don't gamble, so it wasn't really.
Welcome to Fathernetics, Fatherhood Unfiltered. I'm Jamil. Welcome to the podcast.
Do it. You can never find somebody do it like me. I'ma turn it all the way up, cause it kamikaze. Go ahead and try, baby. You are gonna see that you'll never ever find somebody do it like me.
So
I,
what I will say is going out to Vegas is an experience, and
yeah,
you don't necessarily have to drink or gamble. I mean, that's big out there, but you don't have to do that. There's so many like theatrical shows and musical shows and restaurants. If you love food, it's all
yeah.
the extravagant foods and candy and sweets and chocolates and all that good stuff. So I next time you get to go to Vegas, spend a couple days there. It's a lot of fun. Um, and then if your kid is old enough by the time you decide to come back to Vegas, there are a lot of kid friendly things to do out there. I have a 12-year-old and we took him for about a week last year and a half or so, I think it was. And he had a blast. There are a lot of things to do on and away from the main strip. So I sound like I'm selling Vegas. I don't work for Las Vegas Convention Center. That's I promise I don't. All
Yeah.
right. So what I wanted to do is just kind of have you introduce yourself to the audience, let them know who you are. I know that you are big into building or participating in a community that allows for more visibility, more information, more connectivity between dads in the LGBTQ community and beyond, right? As you've built a platform and you engage with folks on surrogacy and your journey as a dad, as a new dad.
Yeah.
And you look well rested, so that's good. It looks like
Thank you.
maybe the sleep is getting a little bit better, but I'd certainly like to hear how you're navigating those first couple of days and certainly your journey there. But let's start with who you are. And,
Yeah.
if you want to plug your Instagram page, feel free to do so.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Dennis, and I live in south of Sweden in a little town called Lund, which is basically a university city. So I moved here to study, and I'm from the big city, Stockholm, the capital in Sweden. And when I moved here, I said, "Oh, I will never stay in Lund. I will move back the day after graduation." But then I met my husband, and I fell in love with the city. So what is it now? For 15 years later, I'm still here, and I love it. But yeah, as I said, I met my husband 14 years ago, so we've been together for quite some time.
That's amazing.
And
First of
yeah,
all, kudos on 15 years because, 10 years ago, hearing any double digits from gay couples was like, wow, that's impressive. So
yeah,
15 years is good.
it's quite some time. And the fun thing was that my husband basically on the first date said that, just so you know, I want kids and I have already saved for adoption. And if that doesn't suit you, this won't work. And I was
Well,
like, of
congratulations
course.
to him for having that conversation on day one. A lot of couples
Yeah,
miss that step and then
yeah,
end up down a very interesting path. So kudos to
yeah,
him for doing
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
how'd you take that? How'd you take that?
Yeah, like I was 20. I didn't think about kids at all. Like, in fact, I've always said I will never have kids. I hate kids. Why would I want that? So as a 20-year-old, I was just like, sure, I want kids as well, and just went with it. But then years passed by, and I was like, okay, maybe a family with him would be nice after all. So
So
we
did you bring it back up when it was when you were
no,
thinking of
no,
hey?
no, no. I didn't bring it up at all because I wasn't in a hurry. So in what was it? In February 2022, my husband was like, just so you know, I've signed up for for a webinar about surrogacy because
Okay.
it's time now. And I was like, okay. I wasn't prepared at all. But then we went to that seminar and signed up for a surrogacy process. And
Did that
to,
seminar like convince you or not convince you, remove some of the doubt? Do you think it was informative enough or was it just like, okay, this is step one?
I think it more was step one, I would say. Because we had met this surrogacy agency, I think, each year for 7 years at Stockholm Pride. So we knew who they were, and that was why he contacted them. And so I knew who they were, but it was more of okay, now I have to take a decision. Do I want to break up with my husband, or do I want to have a family with him?
I mean,
And
serious conversations, right?
yeah, and the decision was easy. It wasn't really a decision. It was just okay, let's go for it. But it wasn't like, oh, now I feel like I'm ready to be a dad. Not at all.
So let me ask you this, because I've talked to a lot of people, not on this podcast, but just in my personal life, and some of them have I would never have kids. I don't like kids. And I've always wondered, like, where does that come from? Like, do you hang around a lot of kids and you're like, I can't do that? Or like you helped at a daycare and you're like, I can't stand these kids. Like, where does that come from?
I think it's mostly because I couldn't relate to them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can speak. What kind of interaction could we possibly have? Something about that, because before I had my son, I basically never held a baby at all. I think it was 2 months before we left to Colombia, where we had our surrogacy process, that I held a baby for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you about that because I'm sure that was one heck of a journey. But I did want to take a side trip here. You mentioned Stockholm Pride. How is that
Yeah.
out there? How's Pride out there?
It's okay. Like recent years, it hasn't been that good. Like this year, it was quite bad actually. But
Ooh.
it is a big festival. You have to
Mhm.
buy tickets and everything, and it's what is it, 4 or 5 days of artists playing, drag shows, and the parade, of course,
So
parties.
in your opinion, what's changing? What's causing it to shift? Is it just management, or is it just the political climate, or is it just
I think like management and it feels like they have a lower budget this year, but
okay?
apparently we'll have a bigger one next year and move to a different what is that venue. So hopefully we'll be better. But we go
So
every year either way.
when does it happen? What month is
In
it
the
in?
last week of July.
Oh, so that was recent. Is it different as a dad going to these events? Are you like, ooh, like that's interesting, as opposed to last year, no care in the world, perhaps?
I would say because last year I brought my son during the day to Pride Park because the Surrogacy agency that we uh, used had a stand there, and I was going there just to say hi, this is me, and just show my baby,
Right,
basically.
right.
But that was during the day, and then we usually, or as a tradition from last year, we stay at a hotel from Thursday to Sunday, and then my son stays at my parents in Stockholm.
Okay,
So they have time with him because they don't meet that often since it's almost a 5-hour train ride between our cities.
makes sense.
But then it's nice to have some adult time where you don't, or when you're not just a dad, but you constantly think about your son, like, oh, I miss him. I want to cuddle
Right.
him.
What's he doing? Is he looking for me? Is he, yeah.
Yeah,
It's hard when you have a new kid trying to find that good balance of taking care of yourself and having free time to kind of reset, and then
yeah,
knowing that you still want to be there.
yeah.
So I get that. Okay. I would say for me, we have Pride. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. So our Pride out here, the first few times that I went without having a kid was fine. It was festive, lots of music, cool people to see, scantily clad, right? People with tissue paper on for clothes, which is part of Pride, right? There's that freedom of expression that's kind of woven into Pride.
Yeah.
After having my kid, I was like, there is no way I can bring him out here. This I was like, first of all, there'd have to be so much explaining going on before. I don't I am not of the mind of he will never go to Pride. I want him to go to Pride. I want him to go, to these events and stuff. But I do feel like there is some conversations that need to be had before and after
Yeah,
to kind of explain why Pride is the way that it is. It's not a bad thing. It's just there are some freedoms that need to be expressed as a result of years of oppression, and still the oppression is happening today, and the biases and the judgments and things of that nature. And for the most part, he's aware of most of that, because we're not necessarily hiding nudity from him. He's 12. Like
yeah,
he's seeing things that, a lot of people would have, you know, cried about in the 70s and the 60s. So I mean, it is what it is. So we just want to make sure he's educated and responsible and respectful in when he's seeing that kind of stuff. Anyway, so back to your journey with your kid. So you went through surrogacy, you went through the classes, or at least met with the agency. What happens after that?
You mean after the surrogacy process or after
So you
the
you started it, right? So you signed up, you went to seminars or classes, I'm assuming. And then there's what is the journey after that? They sign you up, they put you on their service, they try to connect you with a surrogate and a donor, or is that something that you took on yourself?
So I don't know how it works for all agencies, but and especially here in Sweden, surrogacy is unregulated, so it's not illegal, but it's not possible to do surrogacy in Sweden. So we had to go abroad, and
Okay.
Colombia was the right answer for us. But
What made you choose Colombia?
mainly because it's like half the cost of what it cost in the US, because we're not made of money.
Yeah,
Uh,
there you go.
yeah. But if we would have done a second process, and have unlimited with money, I would still choose Colombia, because we were so happy with the process there, because everything worked so smoothly and they were very professional, and you had coordinators located there as well in Bogota. So
So what
whenever
was
we
that
had any,
process like? What
yeah.
agency did you use?
And so we use Nordic Surrogacy, an agency located in Stockholm, and they have collaborations with clinics in Bogota and in the US. And we chose Colombia. So when we signed the contract for the process, I think that was in February 2023. No, 2022. Yeah. And then we went to Colombia for the first visit in June
So
to
was the first visit like,
donate.
okay, we're gonna go donate and be tourists at the same time? Did you guys do that?
Well, that's what you're supposed to do. But the whole first trip was just a nightmare
Oh
because we
no.
got stuck on Heathrow in London. And we had to rebook our tickets, or the airline did. And then when we came to Bogota after, I think, like 30 hours or something, all our luggage was gone. And we were exhausted because we hadn't slept anything. So the first thing we had to do was go to a mall and buy things. And since they don't speak in English and we don't speak Spanish, it wasn't, our brains didn't work at all. But we managed to get some clothes and then went back to our hotel and just slept. And then we got altitude sickness and some kind of stomach bug during this whole thing. And on top of that, the emotional roller coaster of doing a surrogacy process. It isn't like we were there for vacation. It was to change our lives forever. So it wasn't
Wow.
a pleasant trip.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So did you ever find your luggage?
Yeah. They were so helpful that they gave us, I think we had three bags, and they gave us one bag each night at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. So we had to go up 3 nights in a row to get one bag.
Did you ever find out what happened to it? Did it get shipped to a different country or stayed on the plane or something?
No,
That is so
I don't know.
strange. Okay, well at least you found your stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So once you were there, the surrogacy journey started, and
Yeah.
how long were you guys in town for in Colombia?
We were supposed to be there for a week, but I think it ended up being 11 days or something. So it like a normal work week, that you're on Monday, Wednesday, Friday to donate, so to speak. And between that, you sign a lot of contracts and stuff like that. But we did some touristing and sightseeing as well, but it wasn't
Okay.
the main focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long from donation to finding a surrogate or a donor?
And so then when we came home to Sweden, we chose egg donor from a database provided by the agency. But we had to do that 3 times because the first egg donor, for some reason, just quit the process. And the second one was she had to quit because of medical reasons. So the doctor said that she couldn't continue. And then the third one was the one that we actually went with. But that made that the process was prolonged by maybe 6 months or so, because when we had chose the first egg donor, all the good ones were taken when we had to choose
I
once
like
more.
the air quotes. Thank you.
Yeah. So we had to wait until new ones came into the database. And since the second one didn't work as well, we had to do that one more time. So that was why it took so long.
Did they
Uh,
explain to you that that was a possibility? Or is
I
it
don't
something that you
think
kind of discovered as you
so.
went through?
I don't
Yeah.
think so. But like medical reasons are always something that can happen. But that someone would decide to start and then just don't, I don't think that is something that they could have known.
Yeah, yeah, surprises. And you
Yeah,
know, you got to be very what's the word? Sensitive to
yeah,
that kind of stuff, because I'm sure the surrogates themselves have a level of disappointment of not being able to continue down the path
yeah.
that they want to do to support
Yeah.
families that are expanding. So how long from the third donor till you were able to get some sort of conception?
Yeah. I think, let's see, we were matched with, that must have been early 2023. And then actually in middle of the night in Las Vegas, we got the email that we were matched with a surrogate. So that was a nice part of Las Vegas.
Oh, that just comes right back around to our Vegas conversation. It's almost like I planned that, but I didn't. That
Yeah.
is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that was in April 2023. And then
Okay.
our son was born in January 2024 because she got pregnant on the first try. So we were very lucky in that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fantastic news. So how many times did you have to go back to Colombia?
Just one more time
Just one
after
more time.
the first
Okay.
trip. So that was when he was planned to be born in January 2024. So we went there in December 27th, I think, just to be there 2-3 weeks before he was born. In case of he was born prematurely, because that is something that is quite common in Colombia. It's not that, or what did you say? Because Bogota is, what is it? 2,500 meters. I don't know what that is in American
Oh,
units.
is it because of the air difference,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
height? Okay.
Yeah, so it's more like babies are born in week 37 to 38. So
Okay.
yeah, so we wanted to be there just in case. But then he didn't want to come out, so he came out when he was supposed to do, and that's when everything started. But before that,
So
we
what
actually
is
had
that?
some kind of vacation in Colombia. Did some um, traveling to the Caribbeans and Medellin and Santa Marta and saw Colombia. So that was nice.
Oh, well, that's good. You got a chance to actually see the country as opposed to the first. Okay. So were you guys more prepared now going the second time you went back to Colombia? Were you guys a little bit more prepared?
Yeah, definitely. So I wasn't looking forward to going to Colombia a second time because of obvious reasons. But when we came there, it felt almost like home because we lived in the same neighborhood as the first time. And we knew how everything worked. We weren't as afraid as we were the first time, because you're told like, oh, Colombia is so dangerous and be aware of everything because you will be murdered and robbed and everything. But obviously, that's just
You
an
survived.
exaggeration. Yeah. uh,
You
so
get a
the
T-shirt
second
that says
time we were
"I
just live like
survived Colombia."
locals. Yeah.
No, that's like, yeah. I know there's a lot of misinformation out there about Colombia. I'm sure it's at some point it was rougher than it is today. But I've never been, so I appreciate you giving that feedback that it wasn't as scary as one may assume.
Yeah.
How's the LGBTQ community out there, if you know. Did you guys experience any kind of challenges because of that?
Yeah, we did actually both times. So the world's largest gay club is in Bogota.
Oh,
It's huge. It's like a whole city, basically.
wow.
Yeah. So we were, what is it called? Theatron, I think. But that
I'll look it
was
up.
a great experience. So many people. And I was actually at the drag race viewing party the night before our son was born in Bogota as well.
Okay, Drag Race
So
fan then. You
I
watched
am.
all the seasons?
Yeah, the
Okay,
Swedish one
okay.
as well.
Well, I get to. My husband loves to watch the show, and I watch with him. I don't go seeking out the show, but I watch it with him. I enjoy that time, so I follow a lot of it,
Yeah.
and I'm always like, okay, I don't. Sometimes it's so hard for me to match the drag queen with the non-drag queen version. I'm like, okay, is that the same person? Because sometimes it's so different, right?
Yeah.
And they look amazing when they do the drag queen outfits, or the I don't want to say get up. I want to, when they put on all of their makeup, they look fantastic. And then they show them as guys, and I'm like, that can't be the same person.
Yeah, I
It's like
know.
there's no way. But I enjoy the show for what it's worth. There were a couple of different surprises that we could probably talk about that a whole different episode. But yeah. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed the show and you guys had an opportunity to at least experience that. It sounds like they're very LGBTQ friendly
They
out
are.
in Colombia. So
Yeah.
tell me, what's the difference between not being a dad and then being a dad almost overnight?
Yeah. That was quite strange, I would say. Because we were at the last ultrasound with the surrogate. And then they said, oh, she's open, like 2 centimeters dilated. And go home, pack. Um, so we did. And that's when it sort of started. Like, okay, it's real now. But then one day went, nothing happened. Then the second day. So then they told us at 10 o'clock at night, yeah, if nothing happens, we will do a C-section in the morning. So go to bed and sleep. And then 2 hours later, they called us like, he's here now. So
Oh
then
no.
something just happened. So it was really from nothing to he's here now. Because we haven't been part of the normal pregnancy that normal people do. Like you see the belly, you hear, feel the
Mm-hmm.
kicks. We were just from nothing to you're a dad now. And that was surprisingly easier than I thought it would be. Because as I
Okay.
said, I have never had any like drive of being a dad or having kids or even liking kids. But then when we saw him for the first time, it was like, that's my son. And then when I held him for the first time, it felt just so normal. Like I knew instantly how to hold him, and it just felt right. So now it just feels weird that I haven't been a dad, or even thought that didn't want to be a dad, because
That
now
sounds
it's
like a
just
reset on life, right? Like
yeah,
what was that?
definitely.
Well, I think that's so cool. We adopted our son at 4. So we
Okay.
didn't get the infant stages, and it's not something we regret or anything of. But I recognize that there are some components to that helps with the attachment side of things. Just being able to see a brand new kid
Yeah.
born at 0 ages. I guess America starts at 0, and other countries they start at 1 from birth. But that experience must have been awesome. So in the hospital, your husband, kid for the first time, what makes you prepared to be a dad? What in your life, in your history, do you think helps you in your dad journey today? Is it what you've received from watching your mom? Is it what you've received from watching dad, or what dad had, dad did not have, what dad did do, what he did not do, that you think kind of helps you prepare for your dad journey?
Interesting question.
Yeah, this one's a deep
Yeah.
one. You
Yeah,
gotta dig deep for this one.
definitely. Like, I didn't really prepare. Like, obviously,
Well,
I had
you
the
can't prepare, right? But I
yeah,
think you just have it in you to say, okay,
yeah,
this is what I'm gonna lean on, and maybe
yeah,
not that aware that you're doing it.
yeah. Like, we bought a book of the first 3 years of a child by recommendation, and it was like, yeah, don't shake your baby. Yeah, I know, and stuff like that. But that's, well, some kind of calm that I knew what was supposed to happen, but I wasn't prepared at all for the emotional part of it, because I had the um, I went into it like, okay, my life will be over. I will never sleep again. Like, everything will be about my kid. So I had this idea of everything will suck, and then it was the complete difference, or the opposite. Uh, and I think me having that state of mind, everything just went better and felt great. I don't know if it's the correct way of doing it, but it worked for me. Uh, but I think
Well, who's
I'm
gonna
very,
check you, right? Who's gonna say you're
yeah,
doing it wrong? Yeah.
yeah. But
Apart
I'm
from your
very
husband,
calm
maybe.
as a person, and I think that is the what works for me, because I don't get too emotional is the wrong word, but I don't. Um, I stay calm.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
You don't have a temper.
yeah,
Is
exactly,
what it sounds
exactly.
like.
Yeah.
Which
So
is good when you're dealing with kids, certainly, and
yeah,
especially when your life changes 180 degrees overnight. That's high stress, high intensity,
yeah,
and now you're in a bubble that you've never existed in.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's a little bit more real because now you're dealing with a person instead of spreadsheets and documents.
exactly.
So
So
are you close to your dad? Is he still with us?
yeah, he's in Stockholm. So, and we grew up. Like, moved. I lived with him the last 3 years, I think, from when I lived in Stockholm before moving here. But
So how's he feeling about being a grandpa now?
he likes it. He had two grandchildren from my sister before, so I I was the late one, the late bloomer. Both my younger sisters has two kids, and they are much older than my son, so they
Oh,
have
that's
a parent.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome. So I mean, I'm assuming because I don't know, and I always like to ask the question, and feel free to provide as much or as little answer as you feel is appropriate. But um, your dad was okay with you being gay.
yeah,
Was he? Yeah. Okay. So that relationship was never strained. So it sounds like it leads pretty well into the fact that you're a dad now.
yeah,
I know my dad is so all about Jacob, and he's 12 now. And I mean, they're both my parents and my brother and my sister and all the nephews and uncles and aunts. And I mean, they have welcomed him from day one, and his family from adoption is like quadrupled now. So he knows like everybody and their mom. And, people are always like, hey, hi, how are you doing? Okay, can I talk to Jacob? So it's like,
yeah.
okay, well, I guess you've seen enough of me over the years. You can talk to Jacob now. So
Yeah.
how's your family kind of taken to the fact that you have a young one now?
Yeah, like, when we told them that we're doing surrogacy, everyone's reaction, like my friends, my family, everyone was like, "Are you going to be a dad?" Like, you of all people, because I've always said I don't want kids. I don't want it. So they were surprised and first thought I was just joking. But when they realized that was serious. They were just happy. And now I'm in constant FaceTimes, but they just want to talk to my son, not with me.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
You'll love it until he starts talking. Then you're like, okay, now we want you to be quiet. It's always the reverse, but you tend to enjoy it as they start to grow into their own personalities. It
Yeah.
really is something cool to see. So how is the community out there? Do you have intentional LGBTQ parents that you surround yourself with? Is there enough of that in your small town for that to be a thing?
Not what I'm aware of, but we have friends, like gay friends, and they are all his gunkles. So,
Mhm.
and they truly love him. Like, our son is so loved by everyone. So tomorrow, one of them will actually pick him up from daycare because he just said, "Can I pick him up this week?" Like, sure, go on.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah,
That they're pulling in that close. I think that's kind of cool. I've
yeah,
always told people it's awesome to see how that kind of evolves from an LGBTQ perspective, how we try to intentionally pull the right people into our lives. And then oftentimes friends that we had before that were good matches, sometimes, not always, sometimes have to fall to the wayside, right? Because they no longer match
yeah.
what we're trying to do, because now the kid's number one, and now the party life has to sunset, and some friends don't necessarily know how to do that, and as a result causes them to either not be friends anymore or to be r- reduced. I guess that's the right word to use, maybe no longer as prominent in our lives. Have you experienced that with your friends at all, or have they all been like, okay, we're here for you, you've got a kid, so
I would say that everyone has been very supportive. Like my non-gay friends, all of them have children, so that was no strange thing. And all my gay friends that I have just been super supportive and almost like, oh, so you're coming alone? You don't have your son with you? Like, no. Oh, okay. So
so
they
now it's
just
unusual now that you're not with your son as you're
yeah
rolling around. Okay, fair enough. Like,
yeah
there's always a plus one
yeah
everywhere you go. So
yeah
what have you noticed differently as your parenting styles between you and your husband, right? Because I know
yeah.
everybody has different parenting styles. Is there an intentional communication that's happening to say, I think A, you think B, let's meet in the middle as we try to find what we're going to share and bring our kid up to be?
I think it's part discussion, part of let's just see what happens, kind of. But we have this. How should I say it? Like, I talk Swedish with my son, and my husband speaks German. So we have Swedish and German parenting styles, um, where I'm a more um, have patience and calm, and my husband can be more strict. Um, so
We need both.
yeah,
We'll take it.
yeah, and our son has learned what works in what situation,
Oh, so
kind
he's
of.
figured you guys out.
Sort of, but also no, because he knows like uh, where, for example, he loves to just grab all our plants everywhere and just pull them. And but he's in kind of this challenging phase. Like he
Mm.
takes something, pulls it a little, looks back at us, like, "Is this okay?" And I'm like, "No." And then he pulls a little more, and just all of that right now. So of course we say no, both of us, and then we're the most horrible parents ever, and he just screams. And but then
He's checking the
he's
boundaries.
super. It's easy to distract him, so he maybe screams for 30 seconds and then just like, "Oh, look at this ball," and he's like, "Oh, okay," and then goes on.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Like the from Up. So okay, so now that you have the kid in your home and it's still early days, what's the sleeping situation like? Is he sleeping comfortably? Is he up? Are you guys your schedule's kind of upside down? Have you found the new normal?
Well, it's almost embarrassing to say, but he has always slept like 12, 13 hours per night straight. Always.
Okay. I mean,
So at
let's take it. Let's
so
put
at
that out
the
there for everyone else having a kid so that they can have the same 12 to 13 hours, hopefully.
yeah. But I think it has something to do with like first of all, he has never slept in our bed ever. Always in his own bed.
And
Uh,
that's the
but
strategy. That's on purpose, right?
yeah, because but mostly because we are afraid that we would just roll over on him or something because we're two big men in a bed.
Fair
Like
enough.
we didn't want that. But also since believe it or not, but none of us breastfed him. We had a bottle feeding.
You don't say.
Yeah. And then you
That was a
don't
choice.
have yeah. So then you don't have to like because a lot of my friends they have to breastfeed their kids like every hour and then you don't have the energy to go up so you have your child in your bed and then instead of a pacifier they just have the breast uh, and of course it's much harder than to get in a good routine where they can sleep alone or sleep at other people's houses because we left our son with his grandparents when he was only 3.5 weeks so he has
Hmm.
always been around new people. So he's super social and comfortable with everything. So he knows that there's his bed. So when he's tired, he just like, I want to sleep, point to his bed, take his pacifiers, and then I just put him in bed and then he sleeps. So it's no problem.
I mean, super well adjusted. I mean,
Yeah,
you guys are doing something right.
yeah.
Give yourself a pat on the back. Okay, so what is your usual like daily journey with him? And I asked that coming from a perspective of a lot of parents are focused on creating educational moments, always making sure they're engaged in something that is helping them thrive. And then of course you have the other side, which is neither right nor wrong, just a choice to be made, whether they're TV oriented or tablet oriented, or if they're engaged in something else that helps provide more breathing room, if you will,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
parents during the day. What's your strategy for your kid?
So, like, yeah, as all kids in Sweden, he goes to daycare.
Mm-hmm.
So when we work, he's at daycare. So we leave him at around 7 in the morning, and then we go to work, and then I pick him up at around 4, 4:30. And then we just spend as much time as possible walking and being on the playground. So he can just run because he loves that. Uh, because we don't want him to have a tablet or be on our phone or something. But he's he is on our phone a lot because we FaceTime our families in
Mm-hmm.
Stockholm. Uh, and I'm so happy that FaceTime is a thing now because now he has actually a relationship with his grandparents there and my sisters and everything like that. So
Technology is definitely helpful
yeah,
with that because going back to when we were kids, you're much younger than I am, but that the connectivity on that level. I mean, if you weren't flying to visit someone, you weren't really connecting at
yeah,
all.
yeah,
So I love the visual perspective from our FaceTime and our ability to capture videos and moments. And Instagram is big now because now
yeah,
our kids 15 years from now are going to have such a wealth of digital photos, you know that today we have paper photos if we
Yeah.
can find them.
Yeah.
You know. So
Exactly.
good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you have a large online presence.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people are reaching out to you about Surrogacy Journey because you've put it out there to say, if you have questions, just let me know. I'd love to talk
Yeah.
about it, which is why we've connected on this podcast.
Yeah.
How's that going for you? How do you feel about that level of engagement? Do you have a lot of people that actually tap you on the shoulder and say, let's talk?
Yeah, actually I do. And it's like the account I have then is Wesemann Widmark. I've always had. It's like my main personal account that I started in God knows when. Was it 2011 or something? Instagram started? I don't know.
This has been
Like,
for a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I didn't do much about it, like just like everyone else does. Put some
hmm
selfie up or some flower or anything. But then I was I was bored
Well,
during.
welcome to the world.
I was bored during my parental leave because here in Sweden we have 480 days of paid parental leave.
That first of all, wow.
Yeah,
I wish the US did that. There is parental leave here, but that's a big number, which is
yeah,
amazing. Okay.
yeah. So I started being on parental leave for 9 months, no, 10 months. Um, so I was home with our son all day, every day. And since he sleeps a lot, like there's no problem. So I needed something to do. So I just started posting dad and surrogacy things on Instagram. And then all of a sudden, it just blew up from 1,000 followers to now 24,000. So apparently people were interested in.
Yeah, well, what I will say is the demand for parenthood in the LGBTQ community has exponentially grown over the past couple of years, over the past 5 years. You know, when I started my journey of trying to find what the best route was to expand our family, you know, I looked into things like surrogacy and adoption and fostering. We got Jacob through the foster to adopt program here in the state of Arizona, which was fantastic for us because there was no cost associated to it,
Yeah,
which was a dreamscape, right? If you go down, as you know, you go down the route of surrogacy
yeah,
here in the U.S., you could bankrupt yourself if you're not crazy. So you got
definitely.
to be really careful on the journeys that you choose. And for those that can afford it, yes. For those that want that biological DNA connection, yes, please do. You know, those areas are available for those reasons. But going through those paths, we did not have a lot of people to reach out and say, how'd you do it? You know, what do you recommend? You know, why did you have these hurdles, these obstacles? How do you overcome them? Right. Even in just reading books and things of that nature, there was nothing available, which is why I wrote my book. But it's good that you are on social media and you are putting yourself out there as just, you know, hey, if you have questions, cool. We have different experiences. You will have a different experience, but if I can help you sidestep at least one landmine, then we've met a measure of success. So I mean that must feel good to be able to.
Yeah, yeah, it does. And also because I've kind of grown up in a bubble. I've never ever experienced any homophobia at all.
Oh, well, look at
I
that.
no, and I've never heard any negative comments about me during doing surrogacy.
hmm
Uh, it's only online. I've heard things.
Yeah, okay. So that
Yeah,
takes me into your whole trolling experience, which I
yeah.
think is just fantastic that you do that. So what made you decide to engage like that? Which I think it takes a personality to be able to do that because it can break you down, right?
Yeah.
If you're not in the right frame of mind. But it sounds like you take it all in stride. So why do you do that?
Like, I just think it's funny that they think that they can write something about me, my son, or my family, and that would affect me in some way. Like, most common comment is like, "Oh, poor child," and then all the normal stereotypes of what the gay people do to children. And I'm like, are you going to make me sad that I have a son, a loving family that I love? Like, what's the end game? What do you think will happen? So then I just troll them back and more or less read them for filth.
And that's I love it because I've seen a couple of them just in the last couple of days, and I'm like, okay, yes, I would love to do that on my I don't think it would go over well because my my brand is not there yet, so I got to make sure people like me before I take that particular journey. But I love to get into those type of conversation. Nicholas, my husband, loves to engage with people in that type of conversation because it always ends in the same way where they're walking away going, okay, well, I give up because it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah.
And then on top of that is how do they find your page if they're not about that life?
Yeah. I don't know.
How
Like,
does that come up?
I also see it like, sure, keep commenting. It just drives engagement and more people will see my content. So good for you.
That is a great silver lining. And I think because they always come back and want to say something else, it's like their conversation alone is like 24 line items instead of
Yeah.
just the one. So I always wonder if they go out looking for a fight. But it's kind of interesting that they even find our pages to begin with. If you are so adamant about not supporting LGBTQ community, how are we showing up on your For You page? Like, how is that
Exactly.
like the
It's
algorithm? I can't say the algorithm is always right, but come on.
yeah, I know.
We all
But
know what's
it's so
happening.
much fun. And then I write something, and then my followers find it, and then just trash talk them because they're like, "No, you," blah, blah, blah." And it's
As
so
they
much fun.
should. As they should. So do you know geographically where most of your followers are from?
Yeah, the States.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think the biggest city is New York, that
Hmm.
my followers are from.
Okay.
But it's like I think 36% is from United States.
Well, that's good. Have you been approached by people to do like ad campaigns for the LGBTQ community by chance?
I had one clothing line that asked me, but it was like you get it for free, and then maybe if they use your code, you can get some money.
Oh, I see.
But
You gotta like
then I
constantly
have to
promote.
pay taxes in Sweden for the free stuff. So like, no,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, why if it's not really free then?
yeah. So it's free for them, but I have to pay taxes for free clothes.
Yeah. That's a hard no.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. All right, so
But
what's
I'm
next for
open
you?
to many advertisements. Just send them my way.
So what's next for you? Do you anticipate doing something beyond what you're doing on Instagram? Are you going to write a book? Maybe you're interested in doing a documentary about your life. Are you interested in who's going to play you in the movie?
People always say that I look like what is his name? Andrew Garfield, the old
Okay,
Spider-Man.
I can see
So
that.
probably him. But I actually developed a new website for me because I back in the day I was a blogger.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started blogging when I was like 12 or something, and just I love to write. And but now everything is just it's just visual. But I like to write, and when I write the scripts for my reels, it's so much text that could have been like a blog instead that I just take everything away for these 4 lines that's in the
Right.
reel. So I'm planning on starting blogging and just write everything that I want to write about. And who knows, maybe that becomes a book later. But writing a book is kind of a dream everyone have, I think, that someday write about something.
I mean, if that's in your wheelhouse, I've written 2 books. I'm by no means like a well-known author or anything, but one of the advices that I've heard and I continue to share with people is just start.
Yeah.
Whether you finish or not is a different conversation, but just start.
Yeah.
Yeah, and eventually by the time you look up, you'll be towards the end and be able to put something out. I encourage you to do that only because I would love to see more resources out there. A lot of people read books instead of trying to reach out to people online because sometimes it's daunting, right? You have
Yeah.
someone with 25,000 people, they may not respond um because they have so much traffic, right? You may
Yeah.
get lost in the shuffle. But to go pick up their book and say, okay, I may not need to talk to you, but I can read your story. And you have a cool story of surrogacy in Colombia. A lot of people have different destinations that they go to for surrogacy and different reasons for choosing that. I
Yeah.
think the more people know what that looks like, the better armed with information they'll be.
Yeah.
So I expect a book by the end of the year. Thank you.
Yeah. Give it a week or two.
Yeah, well, I mean, why not? Why not? I mean, we would love to see that. All right. So, have you, since coming back from Colombia, one of my maybe two final questions here. Since coming back from Colombia, have you traveled anywhere outside of Sweden with your kid? And how different is that from the time you used to travel on your own?
Yeah, so we used to have a house on Mallorca. Do Americans know what Mallorca is?
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't speak for all
Yeah.
Americans. I mean,
But it's a Spanish island.
mhm.
Uh, and we used to have a house there, but then my parents-in-law sold it. But we go back there either way. And we actually went there last November and now in May with our son. And traveling by plane with a toddler is a nightmare. It's just a 3-hour flight, but it's horrible.
Oh,
Especially since I have a herniated disc, so my back hurts.
oh,
And having him in my lap and he doesn't want to sit still. Like, oh no. But the last time he actually fell asleep, as I did. So that was nice. But traveling with kids is not recommended.
so it's all the prep work, right? Everything you
Yeah,
need to hopefully prepare for and anticipate just for like the airport stuff.
yeah,
So I've never traveled with an infant. When we started traveling with Jacob, he loves to travel, so he travels very well via car or airplane or whatever, a boat. He travels exceptionally well, so we've never had a challenge there. But I know that it takes a lot more than just throwing some stuff in a backpack and getting on
yeah,
an airplane.
yeah. So much
Wow.
packing.
Wow. All right. So what would you say to someone who is looking to explore their surrogacy journey? What's the maybe the number one advice or top 10? One of your top 10 advices that you would give to someone who's looking to go down that journey?
Yeah. First of all, follow my Instagram account.
There you go.
Yeah, but I would say contact people because there's so much information out there, and a lot of information is either like this perfect picture on the surrogacy sites or agency sites, or it's just hate and myths that says that you just take advantage of women and poor women and like things that's not true. So just contact agencies or people like me and ask your questions so you get answered on the questions that you actually have and not this perfect picture on the agency sites, because you can do so much research and just fall down in this research rabbit hole and never actually start. So just, and also, like people say, oh, maybe sometime in the future when it works better for this and this and this and this reason. But there's never a perfect time. Of course, you need to have the money to start the surrogacy process and all that, but like you never know how long a surrogacy process actually will take. Ours took 2 years from signing a contract to holding our son in our arms for the first time. But I've talked to people that been going through the process for 7 years and still don't have a baby because it's pregnancies we're talking about. It's biology. Sometimes it just don't work. So let's say that you are one of these. Will have a problematic process, and then we start in 4 years. Then you will maybe be a father in 10 years. I don't know. Like better to start as soon as possible because you never know.
And what do you say? What do you say about the ups and downs emotionally? How I know it's kind of hard to prepare for that, but how do you guard yourself during that journey? Because it's a roller coaster, I'm assuming.
It definitely is. Like in the same day, you can go from, oh, is this the right decision? Am I really prepared to be a dad? And like, no, I regret doing this. To, oh, can't he be born right now? I just want to hold him. Like in the same day. And that was all day, every day for 9 months. So it was,
Jeez.
yeah. And that I've talked to like my friends and other people, not just in surrogacy. Like that is a normal pregnancy thing. It's not just gay people that do surrogacy. It's like every people that are pregnant and will have kids will become parents.
And
Because you can
really the
never be
only way to
prepared.
know that,
Yeah.
the only way to know that is to have these conversations. Like you said, you have to reach out and talk to people who've gone through the process to kind of better understand it. Because what you read on paper has no dimension to it.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I like that. Dennis, thanks for spending some time with me today. This has been fantastic. Your story is something that most people, if not everybody, needs to hear. But above that, I like that you are making yourself available for conversations and to engage with people. Like I said, there are so many people out there that have a large following that can't be bothered with. You reach out to them, you can't reach them.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that people who are curious about your journey and how they can go through and mirror some of it, if not all of it, can reach out to you, and you will answer and engage with them, and you'll also spar with some of the trolls out there. So that's
exactly.
So I appreciate that. Thank you for spending some time with me today on this.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
You can never find somebody do it like me. I'ma turn it all the way up, cause it kamikaze. Go ahead and try, baby, you are gonna see that you'll never ever find somebody do it like